We'll start by importing the audio file from its folder by going to File, Import, or hitting Command-I. And in the audio file provided, I'm going to choose Cinema Paradiso, and I'll import. And unlike After Effects, audio is always below all the video clips. You'll see that they're very much segregated here, so I'll click and drag it into video clip 1. And I'm going to minimize the visual so I can optimize the waveform and see it more clearly on my screen. If I go to the right hand side of the timeline between the audio and the video tracks, I can click and I can minimize the video and I can maximize the audio. Now what I'll do is I'll hit Shift minus on the keyboard to flatten everything out, and then I'll hold the Option key and put my cursor over audio 1, and with the middle mouse, if I roll forward, I can open up the audio file so it's a little bit more prominent. Now I can see my audio file more clearly in the timeline. I can put the edits if I want in here. If I run my Move tool, I were to double click on the audio, it is now reflected inside of the source window in the upper left hand corner. So in that regard, this is a little bit more prominent inside of Premiere as far as audio editing goes. We're just going to put a simple fade in, fade out on this. And I'll give it a 2-second fade in by clicking in the time code, putting in 200, hitting return. I'll hit P on the keyboard, and I'll click on the line that goes through it. Clicking on the end, I'll drag it down to the bottom of the WAV file, and now I've got a fade in. Now we'll proceed to the end, and we'll have the audio fade out in a 2-second duration as well. So if I were to select video 2, which is where I've got my text, and deselect 1, I can now use my down arrow to navigate to the end of the movie. I'm at 31 seconds, so I'll subtract 2 seconds. And I'll put the first keyframe in, hitting P. I'll put the first key here, and then I'll hit the down arrow again to find the end, and I'll click and drag down. And you'll see that the audio file is muted all the way down now. And now we have a fade in, fade out for our audio. I'm going to hit Home on the keyboard, and now we're ready to export our movie. I'm going to minimize the audio track, and if I wanted to, I could maximize the video tracks a little bit, holding the Option key and the middle mouse, and I'll reduce the audio file in the timeline. There we go. And we want to put the out point on our movie. Because we haven't placed the in and out on this to preview it, I can put the playback head now at the end of our text file where it says the end. And if I hit the left arrow, it'll take me back. I'll change the text to the end by hitting T, clicking inside my text box, hitting Command A, and while I'm there, I'm going to hit O on the keyboard with the timeline selected, and it'll select it gray from the beginning to the end. And that's what will be exported using Media Encoder. The one thing you'll notice about Premiere is that Media Encoder is actually built into Premiere. So there's 2 options. I could hit Command M to make the movie, or I can go to File, Export, Media. And the same window comes up that we're accustomed to when we use the Media Encoder through After Effects. I'm going to save it with the name I want and direct it where I'd like it to go. And then I'm going to go down to the, and let's reduce the size of it, keeping the aspect ratio locked. We'll make it 400 wide, and it'll default to 224, and then we'll change the frame rate to 15 if it's not already set. This will allow you to email me the final file with your name on it a little bit more conveniently. Now I'll click on Export. Now we have our movie.